Hey viewers and friends, Andrew back again with another review, and it's not a slasher review this time, but it is a horror review, and I'm here to review the Australian horror movie called Bait. Now this one came out last year, so nice and recent Aussie horror movie. I didn't catch it in theatres. I wasn't really that interested in checking it out in theatres, so I decided to wait till it came out on Blu-ray. This is a 3D movie, by the way, but I don't have a 3D movie, so I'll be reviewing the 2D version of this film. Now, it came out yesterday, and I was definitely keen to check this movie out despite hearing a lot of negative things about it. I was not prepared to blind buy it, so I gave it a rent, checked it out last night, and here's my review. So, Bait centres around a small coastal town in Australia, and a tsunami hits the town. And it centres around a group of survivors in a supermarket, customers, some staff. They've managed to survive the tsunami. The store is full of water, and a couple of sharks make their way into the store and basically terrorise them for the course of the movie. And that is pretty much all you're really going to get. There's not a lot in terms of storyline other than that. There's a little bit backstory on some of the characters, but it's basically just a group of random people from different life backgrounds thrown together and trying to survive a couple of sharks. So very, very simplistic. There's not really any twists and turns throughout. What you see is what you get. So that is essentially the movie and the storyline. So what did I think of this film? Well, I pretty much went into it with no expectations. I'd heard a lot of negative things about this film, and I've got to say I agree with pretty much all of them. This really was not a good film at all. They focused way too much on the drama to do with the characters while they were trapped amongst the sharks. There was hardly any shark action at all, and when there was, the effects were pretty bad. You can definitely tell that it's more made for 3D. Just watching like a lot of the effects in 2D, it looked tacky. The CGI wasn't that good at all. It didn't look good. I'm not a big fan of CGI, and this movie was full of it. So that was a downside. The other downside was the lack of shark action. There was hardly any. Basically, the majority of the movie was just these people trapped in the supermarket. They were either sitting or standing on the supermarket shelves trying to figure out what to do. The odd kill happened with the sharks, but for the most part it was just the people stranded in there talking amongst themselves and the sharks circling around. So bugger all shark action, which was a disappointment. And when it did happen, it wasn't all that great. There was no suspense or anything to it. Now on to one of my biggest complaints about this movie, and I fucking hate this. I really, really do. The cast, for the most part, were Australian actors and actresses. However, a couple put on American accents, and I frigging can't stand that. And I know for a fact that one of the female actresses in this movie is Australian. She's been in a Australian soap drama called Home and Away, so I know she's Australian, and she put on the worst American accent ever. That was a combination of American at some points and Australian in others, and it just sounded terrible. There is no need for Australian actors and actresses to put on an American accent, especially when this movie is an Australian film. There is no need for it at all. I hate that. The only thing that I really enjoyed about this movie is the fact that it was filmed in Coolangatta, which is about 45 minutes to 50 minutes away from where I live, so I was very, very familiar with the area. A lot of the locations I've been to before, and it was cool to actually see a movie where I know the area and that I've been to, so I enjoyed that factor. The movie was well shot, I'll give it that. It looked great in Blu-ray, as is to be expected. But other than those two fact is, I didn't really think this movie was good at all. It was too Americanized, especially compared to a lot of the other modern Australian horror movies, which have, like, you know, a good old Australian feel to it. This one was just too American for its own good. So I honestly would not really recommend picking up this movie. It's worth a watch. I paid $6 to rent the movie out, and you know, I thought it was worth that. Currently here in Australia, this movie is selling upwards of $30 to $34, which I think is fucking insane. Do not go out and pay that much for this movie. It is not worth it. I would say give it a rent, it's worth a watch, but I really would not advise anyone to go out and pick this film up. So yeah, I've got to say, rather let down. This is easily the worst modern Australian horror movie. You know, and I was pretty much expecting it to be so. I've heard nothing but negative things about the film, but I still wanted to check it out for myself. But yeah, I didn't really enjoy this one at all. So for an overall score, I'm going to give Bait a 2 out of 5. And yeah, that's been my review. So thanks for watching.